Imagine a world where people once believed virtual reality could become the next big thing in everyday life. The idea of the metaverse promised a place where friends could meet, play, and work in a digital universe. It sounded magical, almost like stepping into a science fiction movie. But reality proved much harsher. Many people were simply not ready to live inside a VR world. The excitement met the friction of everyday life, and slowly cracks began to show in this grand vision. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, had envisioned the metaverse as a fully immersive digital universe. A world where you don't just watch things happen online. You feel like you were there. It was ambitious, bold, and futuristic. On paper, the plan seemed simple. Create horizon worlds, the VR hub, and connect millions of people. But even the most brilliant ideas face obstacles when human behavior and technology clash. People's expectations, comfort, and patience matter more than the best design. The problems began to show as soon as Horizon Worlds launched. Users encountered glitches, awkward avatars, and confusing navigation. Instead of feeling magical, it felt frustrating. Imagine trying to meet a friend in a virtual space, only to spend half an hour fixing technical issues. The technology was impressive, but the experience wasn't enjoyable enough to make people return. VR adoption became a bigger hurdle than anyone expected. Beyond technology, trust became a key challenge. Facebook had faced multiple controversies in recent years, making users skeptical. The name change to Meta didn't immediately inspire confidence. Users wondered if the metaverse was a genuine vision or just another corporate rebrand. Confidence is crucial for new technology, and Meta struggled to convince the world that this digital future was ready for them. Despite these challenges, the dream of the metaverse persisted. Zuckerberg invested billions into reality labs, hoping to solve problems and improve the experience. Yet, even internal employees found it difficult to engage with the product. Meetings in VR were frustrating and slow. The disconnect between expectation and reality became a cautionary tale. Ambition alone cannot guarantee success. After the initial launch of Horizon Worlds, excitement quickly turned into disappointment. Users expected a seamless experience, but the reality was different. Glitches, slow loading times, and awkward avatars made the virtual world less fun than anyone had imagined. Many early adopters tried it, but few stayed. The dream of a bustling virtual city with thousands of users became a quiet, half-empty space, leaving Meta questioning its strategy. The problem wasn't just technology. The cost of VR headsets was a major barrier. A device could cost hundreds of dollars, which most casual users were not willing to spend. Even those who invested in hardware found the experience confusing and time-consuming. For technology to succeed, it has to feel natural and effortless. Unfortunately, Horizon Worlds required too much effort for too little reward. Network effects also failed to kick in. A platform like the Metaverse depends on people joining and staying engaged. But if only a few people are present, new users have little reason to log in. Imagine visiting a party where only a handful of people show up. It just doesn't feel exciting. This created a vicious cycle. Low engagement led to fewer users, which further discouraged participation. Meta faced internal confusion as well. Employees working on the project had different visions of what the metaverse should be. Some thought it should be a gaming platform, others imagined a social network, and some were focused on building tools. The lack of a unified vision made development slower and inconsistent. Without clarity, even talented engineers struggled to deliver a cohesive experience. Despite these obstacles, Zuckerberg remained committed. Reality Labs continued to pour resources into improving hardware and software. New features were added, like better avatars and virtual meeting rooms. Yet, each improvement revealed another problem. The metaverse was a work in progress, but progress alone was not enough to convince users to stay. By 2022, Reality Labs had spent tens of billions of dollars, but Horizon Worlds still had very few daily users. Reports suggested numbers as low as 900 active users per day. This was a fraction of what was needed to sustain a growing digital ecosystem. Investors began questioning the financial logic behind the massive spending, putting additional pressure on Meta Bauer. Internal memos revealed that even employees struggled with the product. Meetings conducted in VR were often frustrating, with participants taking half an hour just to join a session. Many abandoned the virtual setup and resorted to traditional video calls. This internal feedback highlighted the main problem. If the creators themselves found it hard to enjoy the platform, ordinary users would face even more friction. The cultural aspect also played a role. Most people could not understand the appeal of spending hours in a digital world disconnected from reality. Unlike video games or social media, which can be accessed easily, VR required full immersion. The average user was not ready to invest the time, money, and patience needed for a meaningful metaverse experience. Meanwhile, the stock market reflected public skepticism. Meta's stock dropped significantly after the metaverse announcement, showing investors' lack of confidence. Financial stability is key for innovation, but Meta's ambitious bet on VR shook confidence. Even with billions spent, the return on investment was slow, creating a tense environment for leadership and staff alike. Yet, Zuckerberg remained optimistic. He believed VR and the metaverse were the future, even if mainstream adoption was years away. Reality Labs continued developing headsets, apps, and the Horizon store. Meta's bet was long-term, aimed at creating a new digital universe, but optimism alone could not solve the growing usability, adoption, and trust issues. The metaverse's failure also stemmed from unclear communication. When Meta unveiled the concept, the world didn't understand what it was. The branding and messaging focused more on vision than clarity. Many observers found it confusing, leaving questions like, "What am I supposed to do in this virtual world?" unanswered. Communication plays a huge role in adoption, and Meta struggled here. Even within Meta, definitions were inconsistent. Different teams had different ideas of what Horizon Worlds should achieve. Some focused on games, others on social interactions, and some on enterprise applications. The lack of alignment led to scattered features and inconsistent experiences, further alienating users. The technical challenges were enormous. VR requires high-performance hardware, precise software optimization, and constant updates. Bugs, glitches, and slow loading times were frequent. Users quickly became frustrated, reducing retention. Unlike other tech, VR could not rely solely on curiosity. Users needed smooth and enjoyable experiences to come back regularly. Meta's competitors also provided context. Companies like Apple and Google experimented with VR and AR, but struggled to reach mass adoption. High costs, technical challenges, and limited content made VR difficult for mainstream consumers. The metaverse was not unique in facing adoption issues, but Meta's public investment made its failures highly visible. Despite the setbacks, the dream persisted. Meta's leaders believed a breakthrough was possible, pushing hardware, software, and user experience improvements. New features like better avatars, social spaces, and cross-platform integration were introduced. However, these efforts could not fully overcome the friction and skepticism surrounding the metaverse. One of the biggest challenges was accessibility. VR headsets were expensive and cumbersome. Unlike smartphones, which are everywhere, headsets required significant investment and technical knowledge. For casual users, it was simply too much effort. Mass adoption requires convenience, and VR was far from convenient. Users also compared VR experiences to traditional media. Watching videos or playing games on a screen was simpler and familiar. VR demanded learning, physical setup, and constant adjustments. For many, the effort outweighed the enjoyment, causing them to abandon the platform quickly. Social factors mattered too. Many people prefer interacting in familiar, low-effort spaces. Stepping into a fully virtual world can feel alien or uncomfortable. Without friends, family, or colleagues actively participating, users had little incentive to log in, creating a reinforcing cycle of low engagement. Internally, engineers struggled to create a seamless experience. Technical expertise could not fully overcome the fundamental limitations of hardware and user adoption. The vision of a flawless, immersive social world remained elusive, with glitches and friction undermining the overall experience. Despite these difficulties, Reality Labs kept innovating. Meta added features to improve comfort, usability, and social interaction, but each innovation uncovered new problems, from performance issues to user interface challenges. The metaverse dream was alive but fragile, dependent on long-term breakthroughs. The financial toll was staggering. Reality Labs lost billions of dollars each quarter, with total losses reaching over $70 billion since 2020. Investors grew wary, questioning whether such a huge investment could ever pay off. High costs, slow adoption, and technical challenges made the path forward uncertain. Meta attempted new strategies to monetize the metaverse. Ideas included virtual stores, app stores, and advertising in VR spaces. Yet, none of these methods proved successful initially. The lack of users meant few opportunities to generate revenue, creating a financial catch. 22. Even experienced users faced frustration. Social spaces were often empty, features were glitchy, and the content was limited. Without compelling reasons to engage, even early adopters lost interest. The metaverse struggled to maintain a core user base, a critical requirement for long-term survival. Public perception was equally challenging. Media coverage highlighted failures. Memes circulated about awkward avatars, and the image of Zuckerberg's goofy VR avatar became symbolic of the project's shortcomings. Public opinion shaped adoption, and Meta's metaverse struggled to overcome negative perceptions. Internally, employees continued working to improve the platform, but dissatisfaction grew, and some high-profile engineers left the company. Without alignment and morale, even talented teams find it difficult to deliver a seamless product. The internal challenges mirrored the external struggles, creating a double-layered problem. Now, by 2023, daily users in Horizon Worlds were estimated at under 10,000. Even counting casual monthly users, the numbers were low compared to Meta's projections. The gap between expectation and reality widened, showing how difficult mainstream VR adoption truly is. Meta attempted to expand accessibility by allowing Horizon OS to run on non-Meta hardware. This showed some flexibility, but did little to solve the fundamental issues. Hardware costs, technical friction, and lack of compelling content remained barriers. Some success came in niche communities. Kids and enthusiasts familiar with Roblox or VR chat enjoyed Horizon Worlds. But these communities were small and not sufficient to sustain a mass-market platform. The metaverse remained more of a hobbyist space than a global phenomenon. AI technology began to shift Meta's focus. Zuckerberg invested in AI, hiring experts to improve voice assistants and other tools. While AI showed promise, it also diverted attention from VR. The metaverse, once the centerpiece, became a secondary priority. Despite setbacks, Meta continued developing the vision. Avatar improvements, new social spaces, and cross-platform tools were introduced. The company held onto the belief that the metaverse would eventually capture the advertising within VR was a major question. Meta hoped brands could build virtual worlds, sell items, or advertise experiences. But with few users, these opportunities were limited. Without scale, monetization remained elusive, reinforcing doubts about the metaverse's viability. Some examples of branded VR worlds existed, like virtual events by companies. Yet, they were niche and failed to attract mass engagement. The challenge remained: how do you convince millions of users to spend time and money in a virtual space? Meta also experimented with subscription and app store models. The idea was to generate revenue through hardware and software integration, similar to Apple's App Store. But adoption remained slow, and the ecosystem of apps was too small to drive meaningful income. The company's financial reports reflected the struggle. Even as some products sold decently, losses outweighed profits. Reality Labs' efforts were expensive, ambitious, and far from profitable, making the future of the metaverse uncertain. The core problem persisted: user engagement. Without a large active audience, every new feature or innovation had limited impact. The metaverse's potential remained, but realizing it depended on overcoming adoption, usability, and cost challenges that had plagued it from the start. Virtual reality, however, is not doomed universally. Platforms like VRChat have reached hundreds of thousands of users simultaneously. This shows that immersive digital worlds can succeed if executed correctly. Meta's struggle was more about strategy than technology. Experts like John Carmack criticized Meta's approach, noting the right technology was in place, but implementation was flawed. He believed VR could be a transformative medium, but warned against mismanagement. Learning from such insights is essential for future success. User experience remained the ultimate test. People want fun, convenience, and social connection. Any platform that fails to provide these elements struggles, no matter the investment. Horizon Worlds faced these hurdles repeatedly, limiting its appeal to casual users. Cultural adaptation also mattered. Unlike gaming or social media, VR demanded a physical and psychological commitment. Most people were not ready to embrace this level of immersion, making the mass market vision difficult to achieve in the short term. Despite these difficulties, Meta continued to innovate. Investments in AI, hardware, avatars, and cross-platform integration persisted. The vision remained alive, but adoption hurdles and financial challenges ensured the metaverse would take longer to mature than initially expected. Today, Horizon Worlds remains a niche platform, primarily attracting enthusiasts and young users. Meta's metaverse dream has not disappeared, but remains fragile, constrained by adoption, cost, and usability barriers. Zuckerberg's pivot to AI demonstrates a strategic shift. The same technology used for voice assistants or ad targeting might one day support the metaverse. But for now, VR remains an ambitious experiment rather than a global platform. The story of Meta's metaverse highlights the challenges of predicting user behavior. Ambition, technology, and investment alone cannot guarantee adoption. Convenience, clarity, and cultural readiness are equally important for success. For businesses and innovators, this tale is a cautionary lesson. Big ideas require patience, clarity, and constant alignment with user needs. The metaverse may succeed someday, but only with careful strategy and real-world validation. And for viewers like you, the metaverse story is still unfolding. Technology evolves rapidly, and what fails today may succeed tomorrow. The journey continues, and watching it happen offers lessons, insight, and perhaps a glimpse into the future of human interaction. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.